and pull the trigger.
That's what makes it American anime.
I was about to say. Hello everyone, welcome back to Open Arms Reactions. My name's Casper Fox, this is Mortius, and today we're back with RWBY.
Today, we are fixing an error of mine. I may have forgotten about the World of Remnants when we went through Volume 2. My bad. It's been a while since I rewatched Volume 2. I really thought the World of Remnants started in Volume 3, and by the time I saw the comments yelling at me for it, we were already done recording Volume 2 because of how far ahead we typically record. Speaking of which, if you want to see things super early access, our Patreon is a great way to do that. But what I want to do now is share the World of Remnant with Casper. And so we have actually 5 total World of Remnant episodes to go through because there were 4 that should have been interspersed throughout Volume 2, and then the final one we're checking out today actually came out between Volumes 2 and 3, so it's going to be a great little kind of setup for us actually starting Volume 3, which should be, I believe, 2 weeks from today, if I'm remembering our schedule correctly, but take that with a grain of salt. Casper, what do you remember learning about the World of Remnants? Do you remember what these are?
So these are kind of like basically world building in-betweeners, right?
Exactly. They are kind of just establishing lore, explaining some of the things. It's kind of a substitute for having someone in the show just like kind of look to the camera and exposition to you. It's for the people who want to understand some of the rules of things like these episodes are Dust, Kingdoms, Grimm, and Aura. So it's really kind of explaining some of the kind of mechanics of this universe and system in a slightly more understandable and approachable way. So I am very excited to share them with you. I hope you guys are excited to see it. And without further ado, let's just make it happen.
Roger, Mountain Lion. Counter-Strike.
Dust. By definition, it is a naturally occurring energy propellant that can be triggered by the aura of humans and faunas. But in reality,
interesting.
It is much, much more.
Yes, triggered by aura.
Found in 4 basic forms, dust can be combined, both artificially and naturally, to form new, stronger types, each with unique properties. Since its discovery, man has concocted a multitude of ways in which to harness the powers of these mysterious crystals. From airships to androids, dust has made its way into practically every facet of technology.
We speculated on that, but that's confirmation that all the airships, the androids, like everything Atlas do, is dust-powered, which is kind of interesting.
It's kind of like, not to say, but it's kind of like vibranium.
Almost in a way,
in
yes.
a sense. Yeah,
well, except for the fact that it's more like the energy, source. But I still get what you're saying with the analogy, though.
It's like Azerite in World of Warcraft.
Some prefer to use dust in its raw form.
This is cool.
Elegant, yet destructive. Those who choose to wield dust in this state must possess a certain level of discipline to ensure that their resulting powers do not break free from their control.
Oh, okay.
I bet that won't ever be relevant.
Ammunition serves as a more practical application in today's modern society. With the technological advancements in weapon design, warriors need simply choose the right cartridge for the job and pull the trigger.
That's what makes it American anime.
I was about to say, like, of course, instead of using it for, like, get clean energy, get, like, so many things, no, guns.
I mean, at least, admittedly, it is in a world with monsters. Like, it's not only developed that way for warfare, but also, like, yeah, you still have a point.
While this has become the standard method of use, it is not uncommon to find individuals still practicing more archaic forms of dust manipulation.
Rose petals.
Such as weaving it into clothing. Directly with their own bodies.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd probably do that.
Despite working, fighting, and even turning a profit with it.
Real quick, I want to highlight those. Despite working, fighting, and turning a profit.
Yeah.
Humanity has still yet to understand how dust came to be. And more importantly, how their involvement with dust will ultimately change the world of Remnant.
So Remnant is the name of the universe we're in? Or like the planet?
Yes, planet.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
they live on Remnant.
Makes
Yeah,
sense. Okay.
so
yeah,
that is our
interesting.
Dust world building. What are your thoughts?
I think that this is a fantastic way of doing it, and quite
Yes.
honestly, to be honest, so I don't want to bring SFS into this, but
Yeah.
that is actually something I might take inspiration of, because that is actually really, really cool.
Ooh,
That
I
is-
like that a
is
lot. The
fantastic
ability to
way
kind of
world
do a
build.
little extra there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of already what you were doing with the Muse and her kind of interludes in the songs.
Exactly, yeah.
Except
Exactly,
like
yeah.
they're included. I don't know if you were like, even in my reaction. For those of you who don't know, Casper recently made a musical called Stories from Sticks, or
Theme album,
more
theme
a
album,
theme-
theme
yeah,
album.
I said it as soon as I was correcting myself. A themed concept album all about the underworld and Hades. You should check it out. I remember wondering if the Muse interludes were actually part of the song or if they were just in between
Yeah.
bits for the live stream.
Both.
Yeah, so if like in the future you added some in between bits that aren't even in the songs, that would kind of be like this. So that's kind of interesting. Did you recognize the narrator?
So I assume that's from the very beginning, like the one that you
Yes.
said was from Halo,
Yep.
I think?
Yes, this
Yeah?
is Jen
Yeah.
Taylor, aka Cortana.
Right.
Yep. Cool. Well,
Cortana
yes.
from Final... What's that fighting game called?
Halo?
Mortal Kombat?
No.
Isn't there a Cortana in Mortal Kombat?
I don't think so. Soul, you're a nerd.
Roger,
Correct him.
F you?
All right, let's do kingdoms.
The world of Remnant is a dangerous place,
There's the Shattered Moon.
particularly for man.
Oh.
In the countless years that humanity has roamed the planet, civilizations have grown and fallen, but 4 have withstood the test of time.
So there have been other kingdoms besides the 4 that have fallen.
Vale.
And so
Oh, okay. We got a little... That's nice.
we get these guys. Now, there's a couple interesting things worth pointing out here, and I want to see if you would highlight any of them before I do on this quick pause screen.
Well, I definitely think it looks like the sea level has risen significantly by how these like islands are portrayed. I also think the right, like where Mistral is, that kind of looks like a woman, like with her eye and stuff. But I mean, I think it's interesting that we have 2 cities on essentially, or 2 kingdoms in the
Yes.
same continent, and then the others are like divided. Like it definitely seems there's a lot more water than ground.
Yes,
On this
definitely.
planet,
And it's kind of interesting because, like, assuming that these don't span, like, assuming, like, a kingdom's reach doesn't really span across an ocean, we've got this
Yeah.
whole, like, island down here
Unclaimed.
that seems unclaimed. And then, I can't believe you, like, picked up that, like, this.
That's a
almost looks like
dragon
woman.
on the
There
left.
you go, yes.
Yeah.
There's a whole, I remember there was so much speculation about that landmass in the early volumes. So, I just wanted to take a quick pause and let you take in the landmasses and kind of how everything is set up there.
These 4 kingdoms, with the help of natural barriers and human tenacity, have proven that they have the will to survive. Each kingdom has a governing council to represent the people and their needs. Next
Makes sense.
comes the military. While most kingdoms only call on its citizens to serve when needed, others find it important to be...
Like Atlas.
There are still those who choose to venture outside the walls of the kingdoms.
Cool.
Roaming nomads and small villages are not uncommon.
Yeah.
Neither is their tendency to disappear overnight.
Interesting.
Lastly,
Oh, Grimm.
the Huntsman Academies. These institutions' sole purpose is to train the next generation of huntsmen. The next generation of defenders that will live and die to protect the lifestyle that they've become so accustomed to. Yes,
Ooh.
the world of Remnant is indeed a dangerous place, but the 4 kingdoms stand as beacons of hope, as safe havens from the darkness that surrounds them. They are the key to mankind's survival, as long as they stand united.
Oh. And they...
Nothing
Wow.
sinister about that, huh?
That's crazy because United are so bad. City's better. But yeah, it's very
God,
interesting.
Stupid.
I can't believe you got that.
I did.
Hats off. Hats off,
I
Mortius.
only got it because of Ted Lasso, I'm going to be honest. But still.
Oh my god, hats off. That's fine. I am very impressed by that. Okay,
So,
great.
that one
Kingdoms.
wasn't nearly as much new information. Most of that was stuff we had already kind of parsed out from the show itself, but it was still cool getting an official map, learning a little bit about the different priorities and things like that, and then kind of like the almost like sinister tone of the narrator as they're talking about like these kingdoms and their hope and things like that. It's like, oh, like what are the writers trying to say with this like narrator voice? You know what I mean? It's really interesting.
Fire.
And
I love this
now-
concept so much.
I'm so glad. I'm so sorry I forgot to do it while we were in the volume. And now, episode 3, we get to learn a little bit more about Grimm.
Oh, thank God. That means ugly in many languages.
The creatures of Grimm. A ravenous, destructive force that covers the majority of Remnant.
The majority.
While often referred to simply as Grimm in the common vernacular, these beings serve as the greatest foe to mankind. For as long as humanity can recall walking the surface of Remnant, so do they remember this wicked force.
It's been around forever. It wasn't like some new thing that developed from dust use or anything like that.
Ancient cultures believed the creatures of Grimm to be animals possessed by evil spirits, or perhaps the spirits of tortured animals themselves. However, further study, as well as the discovery of newer, more horrific forms of does not support this hypothesis. With new creatures discovered every day, scientists perpetually find themselves with more questions than answers. While very little is known of their origin, some key facts have been observed in the wild.
The big bird.
Foremost, the Grimm exclusively attack humans and their creations.
And their creations. Interesting.
Exclusively attack humans and their creations, while occasional...
While occasional skirmishes between wildlife and Grimm have occurred, these instances appear to be based on territorial provocations rather than a need for sustenance.
So they only attack human things for, like, actually reasons beyond just protecting their own territory or self-defense. That's kind of interesting.
I have a theory that this has to do with the human, because I forgot, when was dust discovered? Were we told that?
They said it's a naturally occurring substance that's been around for as long as people have.
Exactly. So therefore, I think the dust discovery
Dust and
the
Grimm.
Grimm are connected. I think the dust were not supposed. Like I think that the Grimm have some connection to dust, and that the
Interesting.
humans taken it because creations would also be like the weapons and the vehicles powered by dust in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So that would make sense to
Interesting.
make connection there, but we'll see.
In fact, the common belief is that the Grimm are not obligated to feed.
That's
They
crazy.
choose to.
Oh my
I
god.
know, right?
Even more unsettling is the basis of their attraction. The creatures of Grimm are lured towards negative emotion.
That makes sense.
In the rare instances when villages are capable of defending against a wave of Grimm, their survival is not guaranteed, as widespread panic will only lead to more attacks. Little else.
How awful is that like, a place can get attacked, win the fight, but have so much anxiety, panic, and negative emotions afterwards that they just invite something worse.
That's but also like any that's such a terrible, like, for example, even if you're like, for example, if you stop your toe or if you're carrying something and drop it, like, it's so easy to give into that negative effects, and then you get killed by a mega raven. That's crazy.
It is known about the creatures of Grimm. Keeping them in captivity has proven to be an understandably difficult task, as the creatures tend to either die or kill those who imprisoned them in the first place.
Jesus.
To further complicate study, the corpse of a Grimm will only remain for a short period of time before completely...
We've seen this in universe,
Those
but...
Yeah, we have.
For sport find this particularly upsetting, but manage to get by with cheap taxidermic recreations and bombastic stories. Although the creatures of Grimm appear mindless, more delicate observation has proven contradictory.
Yeah, the older they
It has
get.
been noted that while younger Grimm tend to be more reckless, older Grimm, who have managed to survive their battles, have the tendency to learn from their experience and will exercise caution in the future.
Hey, remember in
horrifying.
volume 2 when I was like, Grimm are attracted to negative emotions, and also the older they get, the smarter they get. I thought that was established in this volume, but maybe I'm wrong. It was because I skipped the World of Remnants.
No, but I dude, because Professor, what's his
Oobleck?
name? Sorry. Yes. He did
Doctor.
tell Ruby about it when the doctor. Sorry, yes. Sorry, in Denmark that's used interchangeably
No, I know.
sometimes. But the elephant mammoth thingies.
Yes.
Because Ruby was asking about them, and then
Yeah.
he said the older they get, the more, and so literally what is happening here was explained in
Yes.
volume 2. So
But
you were
the
right.
aesthetic change and the attracted to negative emotions would have been helpful to actually watch the World of Remnant.
This perverse form of self-preservation allows the creatures to become more effective.
that is horrifying.
Oh yeah.
And in the end, killing is all that matters.
Watching them back to back really highlights how much creepier the narrator gets with each iteration.
Well, because, okay, two things. Number one is that makes me think there's probably some Grimm creature. Like, you know how, for example, if you play everyone in rock, paper, scissors in the entire world, you only have to win like 32 battles to be the champion. There's gotta be a Grimm out there who has been that lucky survivor, who is now this elder Grimm ready to, you know, right? That's like one. Number two, it feels like Aura would be like the kind of opposite to, like, because Aura is based on, like, I feel like Aura could be like positive emotion.
The next
in
one
that
is
sense, like, the
literally
little
Aura.
negative.
Do you want to delay this
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thought train
Yeah.
until we get the
Yeah.
lore? All right. Did you have anything
Sure.
else regarding Grimm?
Nope.
Cool. Let's keep it going.
Huntsmen are widely regarded as the world's greatest warriors.
I love the triumphant
Skilled in a
horns.
wide variety of weaponry and hand-to-hand combat. These champions
Hell yeah, Sun
are
Wukong.
also masters of a much greater power.
The cool guy I forgot the name of.
Ren.
Thank you.
Aura is a manifestation of the soul,
This we knew.
a life force that runs through every living creature on Remnant, whether
Oh,
they are
every
a meager
living creature,
shopkeep
okay.
or a renowned knight. However, what sets true warriors apart from all others is their ability to amplify and control their aura.
Okay, John.
Primarily used as a defensive mechanism,
As we've seen.
passively coating the wielder in a protective force field. It can protect a combatant from what would normally be a fatal blow. It does not, however, make the user invincible. As they receive more and more damage, their aura reserve will deplete. If this happens, all the fighter will be left with is his resolve.
So we kind of talked about that when we were talking about why Yang doesn't just injure herself before fights.
Yeah.
It's because,
Yeah.
like, the fact that they can just take anime punches and gunshots is because of aura. And something very,
Yeah.
very important, especially, spoiler alert, leading into this volume when fights are about to get a lot more intense, when an aura is broken, they are as vulnerable to a sword or a bullet as you or I are. Like, they are
yeah, makes
no more durable than humans once their aura
Right.
is gone. So
That makes sense.
Fascinating and terrifying.
Fortunately, when a fight turns gruesome, a warrior can also rely on their aura in a different manner. Semblance is a term used to describe the projection of aura into a more tangible form. For
Right.
some, this could be the ability to control objects with telekinesis.
Confirmation on what hers
Others,
exactly
it could
is.
mean superhuman
Right.
strength. The power associated with a wielder's semblance is completely unique. With enough training and focus, a user's aura can turn them into something much more than just a man.
Epic mention.
Epic reference.
And
Oh,
that's
and
that.
then he was just okay. And we get Ozpin.
A user's aura
right?
can turn them into something more than just a man. Highlighting Ozpin is kind of interesting.
Oh my god. Can you imagine that Elder Grimm is actually just Ozpin in disguise this entire time, trying to take down his entire like thingy-mabob?
Interesting.
That's me. If I was writing RWBY, I would do that.
Okay. Well, we have one more World of Remnant to get to that we want to check out. This is the one that actually came out in between Volume 2 and 3, so this is going to set us up for the start of that volume.
Right.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
So, an ad for the Gilded Teafling was supposed to go here. Soul, the editor, asked Mortius to send him the ad he was gonna make. This is what Soul got in response. Soul added the audio, but you get it. Anyway, the editor's kidneys are fine. I mean, for now. But his microphone is not. So he enlisted my help with this ad read. So let me tell you instead about our sponsor, the Gilded Teafling. If you like tea, they got the good stuff. Just head on over to gildedteafling.com and use code RELAXMyFriend at checkout. Anyways, back to the guys on screen or whatever.
The Vytal Festival Tournament.
Oh, right. That's the... Yes.
The sort of Olympics of the universe.
Grand Wizard Tournament.
It all began, as most things do, with war.
Ospen.
Uh-huh.
The kingdoms of the world had been locked in a violent struggle for years.
Right.
I love this because it kind of like, this, I will give you this kind of awareness right now. The fact that this is shown in this way with spear, sword, raw magical potential, and early primitive guns and weaponry is intentional to show the way that these kingdoms developed. Like, had been locked in a violent struggle for years. This is a previous war. Atlas was the first kingdom to develop the firearm technology, and then the other kingdoms, spear, sword, and raw magical potential, is very indicative of the cultures we will learn about later.
And it looks like they all have an element, or is that just coloring?
I think that's just coloring. But the coloring is important. Like, Atlas's color is, color is important in this universe. So that's not me just saying, oh, it's just colors and it's just style. Like, the color is important, and that is the color of their, like, logos and the general sort of theming of their locales. But I don't believe the elements are that relevant. I might be wrong, though.
But eventually, the Great War of Remnant came to an end on the small island of Vytal.
Okay. And that's the name of the tournament.
Humanity's leaders chose peace over bloodshed and constructed the future of modern society, establishing new laws, new academies, and new traditions. The Vytal Festival was created to serve as a celebration of peace between the kingdoms. Every 2 years, a kingdom would be chosen to open its doors to the world.
Every 2 years, it's literally just the Olympics.
From every corner of Remnant to meet and indulge in one another's cultures. The pinnacle of this event was the Vytal Festival Tournament. After the newly formed Huntsman Academies proved to be a success, the Vytal Festival Tournament was designed to test the strengths of the kingdom's warriors in a safe and friendly competitive environment. A wonderful method to ensure
friendly spikeball
that the world's huntsmen would never settle for mediocrity, but would constantly strive to.
That's true. Competition among that like age range is a really helpful thing.
The huntsmen grew, so did the games. And in time, it was decided that the tournament would need a stage equal in greatness to that of its competitors.
Right.
Amity Coliseum was the culmination of the four kingdoms' efforts.
They all worked together.
Marvel, and a shining symbol of harmony, capable of making the journey to all the kingdoms of Remnant.
Capable of making the journey to all kingdoms of Remnant.
It's a portable arena.
I was going to say, if you can't tell by the kind of just pointed design that obviously couldn't rest anywhere, this is floating. That dust on the bottom allows for levity. That's not quite the word I'm looking for, but...
It's true that all of this began with war. But it is peace that has served to shepherd humanity on its ascension to greatness. May we never stray from that path.
I know, right?
Hello. Oh my god.
Oh my god. You know what? I want you to look at his face just for fun. Look at that man's face and tell me what character he is. Guarantee you won't be able to. It's so different.
I was gonna think Doctor.
I wonder if you can...
God, thank you so much for watching RWBY World of Remnant old episodes on the new YouTube channel.
Remember to go.
Is that John?
That is Jean! Good job. I wasn't actually sure because he does a really
Nice.
higher up character voice for Jean,
Right.
especially in the earlier volumes. But yes, that is Miles Luna, one of the primary showrunners, as well as the voice of Jean. So, that was our lore dump. Do you feel ready for Volume 3?
Let's do it, man. Let's
Good.
do it. Let's do it now.
Do you have
Let's do
any
it.
final thoughts or anything like that you want to share? Awesome. Well, we are so excited to hop into Volume 3, and I know that once we start, spoilers will be abound, so I am taking Casper through this volume very quickly, which means by the time this is up, we are probably multiple episodes in over on the Patreon. Consider joining us there if you want. Otherwise, we appreciate you very much for being here, and as always, greet the world with open arms, and we will be seeing you very soon for Volume 3. Goodbye.